Hey guys, so I was watching this VFX reel by John Haynes, and I really like this effect, this smoke effects that he does. He did this smoke mixing effect that he did in Houdini, and yeah, I wanted to give it a try, so this was my results. Yeah, you can see we have two smoke effects, and they can mix with each other and just rotate around each other like that. So let's see how we can do that. So we're going to first make the animation where the smoke emitters are rotating in a circle. To do that, I'm just going to add an empty, just like this. Select it and give it a rotation keyframe. So I'll select it and hit I to give it a rotation keyframe. And I can also use Ctrl Tab to tab into the curve editor. And I only want to focus on the Y rotation. I can select that and just select that and use Shift D to duplicate another keyframe, and you can see now we have a slight rotation. I think I'm also rotating the other keyframes, the other curves, which I don't want, so I'm just going to delete them from there so that we're only rotating these on the Y. Then I want this to be continuous, so I'll select that channel and give it a modifier, a cycles modifier, so that this is repeated, and make sure that I have a repeat offset turned on, so that this is continuously rotating. And you can make this faster by bringing these keyframes closer, or by just moving this up so that it's faster. And if you use Ctrl Tab again, you can tab to the timeline and bring these keyframes closer to make this even run faster. So I'll just use it somewhere like that. Now we want to parent our emitter to this so that we can start emitting the smoke. I'll use a UV sphere for that, and I'll just Ctrl P, parent it to that empty. Now this is rotating. Attached to that, I'm also going to just move this setup up here so we have something like that. Okay, so then we can create a domain to house our emission, our smoke simulation, and this is going to be a physics object rigid of type fluid domain. And this is going to be a fluid object of type inflow. The flow behavior should be inflow, and now you can see that we have some smoke. It's rising quite fast, which is not what I want. So I'm just going to select the inflow and reduce the initial temperature to 0.1. Select the domain and go to the gas settings and reduce the buoyancy and heat to something like 0.1 so that the smoke doesn't rise that fast. You can see now it's in one place. It's rising, but really slow. That's exactly what we want. Another thing we could do is introduce some vorticity. So select the domain and add some vorticity. This is just turbulence to the smoke, but if you add too much, the smoke becomes too unstable, and sometimes it doesn't really produce good results. So I'm just going to remove that, and instead of using vorticity for turbulence, I'm just going to use the turbulence force. So Shift A, force field turbulence, just like that. I'll give this a value of 10 just to show you how it affects the smoke. You can see now it adds a lot of noise to our smoke, but it's adding it in every direction, causing our ring of smoke to be diffused or to be very noisy and very difficult to see. So what I'm going to do is reduce the influence of this turbulence by setting up a fall off, let's say a fall off of 6, so that only the areas within this fall off are affected by turbulence, like you see there. But I want it to be just the empty, to be near the emitter. So I'm just going to parent the fall off to the emitter, just like that, so that the smoke within our emitter have turbulence. Yeah, so that we have something like that. I'm also going to reduce the fall off to close to the surface, just like that, so that most of the turbulence is around there. Another thing I'm going to do is make sure that the surface emission is set to 1, so that the smoke is emitted directly onto our surface. Yeah, so we get something like that. You can see there is turbulence. It's not too much. We can still see the ring, and that's great. Now another thing we want to remember, we want 2 emitters. So I'm just going to select this setup, duplicate it to the left here, so that we have 2 rings like this. Obviously our setup is too small, so I'm just going to make it larger and also tall, I think. And now we have something like this. Another thing I want to do is just move this empty animate it moving forward. So I'll set a keyframe around there and another one around there. That also means I will have to expand my emitter. So now we have something like this. Okay, why is the empty not rotating anymore? You only need 2 keyframes for this. So if you have 3 keyframes, you're going to end up with this cycle effect. So make sure you only have 2 keyframes so that this is continuous. The rotation is continuous. Now we have, yeah, that's exactly what we want. Now let me just bring this up here and increase the smoke resolution to something like 62. Now we're getting something like that. Go to the shading tab, give the domain principal volume. Now let me increase the density, add some lights like that. Now let's give these different colors. So each emitter, if we go in the emitter settings, you can see has a smoke color option. So let's give this a blue and give this a pink. And then we can go to the domain and bring in the volume info node and use the color directly in the color. It will only work after you simulate again, because we changed the setting after simulating, so we need to resimulate again. Now you can see the different colors. I'll bring the density a bit down. Now you just have to increase the resolution to whatever you want, and you should be able to render smoke in different colors. Thanks for watching.